Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself.
On Sunday, February 25th, a young girl from Florida named Madeline celebrated her 13th birthday with her family. She was surrounded by family and friends, but someone was missing. Jen, Madeline's mother, could not attend this celebration, citing that she had to work. But that didn't stop Madeline from having a wonderful time and being excited about her gifts. It was said that later, when Madeline's mother came home from work, she told her mother all about how happy she was about her party and her gifts. Now, Madeline's mother, Jennifer Soto, would claim that on Monday, February 26th, she saw Madeline getting ready for school. She also claimed that her boyfriend, Stefan Sterns, drove her daughter, Madeline, to school. Stefan would later state that he dropped off Madeline for school at a nearby church so that she could walk herself the rest of the way to school. Later that same day, around 4:30 p.m., Madeline's mother, Jen, claimed she went to pick up Maddie from Hunters Creek Middle School, and she was immediately confused when she couldn't find Madeline at the school. Then Jennifer was shocked even further to discover that her daughter never even arrived at school. In an effort to find Madeline, Jen then began to search neighborhoods near Madeline's school and went to her own mother's business office. About 4 hours later, Madeline's mother reported her missing. Orange County Sheriff's Office deputies met Madeline's mother, Jen, at the school, and they canvassed the area and searched with bloodhounds. But they had no success. The following day was Tuesday, February 27th, and at 6:51 p.m., Madeline Soto's missing poster was released, and officials widened their search. The police had decided against an Amber Alert, citing that there didn't seem to be evidence that Madeline was actually kidnapped. At around 10 p.m. that same day, about 24 hours after Madeline was reported missing, Madeline's mother, Jen, and her boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, appeared in a Fox 35 interview with the hope of getting more people to be aware about their daughter, Madeline, being missing.
So the first question is if I can have your first and your last name and spell them both out for me.
Okay. Jennifer Soto, JENNIFERSOTO.
Mother.
Mother.
Jennifer, tell me how you feeling right now.
I feel like I can't breathe. All I keep thinking about is, where is she? Is she safe? Is she okay? But we're all a wreck. My entire family is a mess. We're just so worried.
When did you first realize, or when did you file a missing report?
We filed a missing report. We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We had dropped her off close to the school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. Sorry. That should be it. Sorry about that. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
You share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I know you had conversations with detectives. Not sure what that conversation is, but whichever you feel comfortable sharing, that will put the awareness out there.
Yeah, she was spotted walking by the church, by the middle school, on the cameras. They saw her hang out in the parking lot for a little bit and then get up and leave. They didn't see a vehicle or anything else. They just saw her walk away around 9 a.m. heading towards the school, but she never made it. Yeah.
What has the school said? Have you given in contact with the school?
Yes, that they're doing everything they can. They've given me all their resources. The principals called me. They've looked at their cameras. I don't think they've caught anything on the cameras that's too far away from the sidewalk. Everything is too grainy, so they can't see specific faces. But they've looked. I'm just waiting to hear anything else from them.
Is this normal behavior?
Not
to
at all.
just not show up or call or text or anything?
Not at all, no. She, from time to time, she will leave her cell phone at home accidentally, and that's actually what happened yesterday. She left her phone at home. She went to school. But that happens from time to time. She's got ADHD, her memory. She's very forgetful. So yeah, there's no way to track her right now because the detectives don't have her phone. But this isn't normal behavior now.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts. I told her good night, and yeah, that was it. I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
13?
She's 13 years old, yes.
13, Madeline?
Madeline.
What are you thinking right now?
In my heart, I feel like somebody took her. This isn't like her to just pick up and run away, or just not go to school. I don't know what to think.
Friends, the friends' parents, you've contacted and went through every single person?
Everyone that we know that she knows, we've contacted them all, reached out to them. The parents have gone out to search and look for her as well. And we haven't come up with anything yet.
I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, Hunters Creek, rants and raves and what have you. Did people say that they were going to conduct some type of like search party or anything?
A lot of people have asked me to volunteer, like if there is one, if they can do one. I have people passing out flyers, going to every store in that vicinity, a gas station, church. I think people were being stopped in the street this morning in front of the school to see if they've seen anything, if they've heard anything. My family they're going all out right now. Yeah.
I know as a mother, you have a lot is going on in your brain.
So much.
To bring her back home. What have the law enforcement told you that you are able to share?
I mean, that they're doing the best they can. They've had detectives come out, interview us. They took a piece of her clothing for the canine dog to see if they can sniff her out. I'm not sure when that's being done.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one week and maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check where if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip of my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it. That's about it.
And you said this is not like her
Not at all.
to run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her?
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
No.
Is there anything that you think our viewers would need to know about the way you're feeling, the way the family's feeling, Madeline?
We are desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt. I just hope she's okay.
When did you notice that she was missing? Because this was at the beginning of the morning.
She got dropped off in the morning. We did not notice until after school pickup at 4 o'clock when I went to go pick her up and she wasn't at school.
So we're going in 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. No word. No text message. No messages anywhere from her. I've looked at all her social medias. I've looked at all her games she could have played with. Any app. No weird conversations. Nothing strange. Everything was conversations with just normal friends or us.
She knows how to get home by herself, as if, like, let's just say, to take a bus or an Uber or something like that. She would know how to get home alone, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she would know how to get home. Maybe, I mean, I'm thinking if someone got in the car with her and if she pointed the way, what roads, she probably could figure out how to get, but like, does she know her full address? I don't think she does.
Which would give me it just puts in my brain that she always comes home with someone.
She always comes home
So
with me.
there's no need for her to really
Exactly.
learn. Okay. And you said no, Tom? I think that was everything. All right, the first question is if I can get your first and last name and spell them both out for me.
Stefan Sterns, Stephan Sterns.
All right, so Stefan, you seem very emotional right now. Explain to us.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out, and I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
And so where do you think she could possibly be? I mean, this isn't, as I was told, this isn't normal behavior.
This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be, and we're scared. We just want her home.
Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself.
What has the conversation been with Jen since?
She's been a lot stronger than me. She's been holding it together really well, but it just keeps coming in waves. Just the reality keeps hitting. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home.
Have you, like, literally put boots on the ground, went out?
Yeah, I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off. And we looked all up and down the road, all along the communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on, and that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage, and not much else.
Does it seem like she walked west, east?
They said in the direction of the school. I'm not sure what that is.
What was the language? Not language verbally, body language. When you dropped her off, did she seem happy? Was she like, I'm going to meet my friends?
Happy. She had a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing.
So the unknown is killing you.
Yeah, it's like our whole world is upside down. And not feeling her presence here is... Sorry. It's hard.
Oh no, you're fine. No need to apologize. What do you want our viewers to know when they see this?
She's a sweetheart. She's a very sweet, kind girl. Just please be nice to her. Bring her home if you find her. Tell her that we love her. Wherever she is, I hope she's okay.
I mean, if someone were to come in contact with her and you gave me her diagnoses, would it be easy to approach her without any like agitation or anything?
Yeah. She's a good kid. She's a good kid.
If you can sum up in one complete sentence, waking up, getting ready to drop her off at school, dropping her off at school, to now speaking to me after talking to the police about her being missing for over 24 hours right now. In one complete sentence, what would that be?
A living nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Day started off like any other. And I just want to wake up. You just get hit with waves of the reality. Just it's setting in. As soon as it got dark last night, we started falling apart because we knew it wasn't going to come to an end. And now we're going on 24 hours and still nothing. Just conflicting reports here and there. People say they see this or that. None of it's conclusive and none of it's helpful. We just want our baby girl back.
The next day, on Wednesday, February 28th at 3:30 p.m., Orange County Sheriff John Mina hosted a press conference about their ongoing search. And, of course, in the background, the police were conducting their own investigation. The police then did an interview with Stefan, the boyfriend. In his interview, he told police he picked Madeline up and dropped her off in front of Peace United Methodist Preschool, which is down the street from the school about a block, sometime between 8:25 and 8:40 a.m. However, the police noted that the school didn't actually begin until 9:30 a.m. Stefan claimed that as he was driving away, he could see what appeared to be Madeline searching through her bag, and he didn't think anything of it since she usually looked for her headphones on her walk to school. Police would later interview family and friends who all stated that it was very unusual for Madeline to be dropped off down the street from school and to not stay in communication with family or friends. Stefan then stated he began heading home when he attempted to stop for a vape juice at a nearby vape shop, but he realized it was closed, so he went back home to Kissimmee. Once Stefan was home for an hour, he went back out to retrieve a vape juice and run errands. During the initial interview with police, Stefan did provide police with consent to search his phone. However, he oddly stated to police that he had accidentally performed a factory reset on the phone on February 26, which happened to be the very same day Madeline went missing. Then, just hours after his interview, police suddenly arrested Stefan and named him the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeline.
Maddie, last scene. Why aren't you helping her mother and her family? This is a little girl. Help them find Maddie. Where is Maddie? Where is she? What did you do with her? Tell us something.
Now, when the affidavit for Stefan's arrest was revealed, it sent absolute shockwaves throughout the public. The affidavit described disturbing and graphic information, which was enough evidence to prove that Stefan had been very clearly essaying Madeline within the family home and even recorded some of it. The day following Stefan's arrest, Sheriff Mina announced at a press conference,
"I wish we were here to tell you that we have found Madeline, but we have not found her." Last night, detectives from the Kissimmee Police Department met with Madeline's mother, and they had to tell her the very devastating news that although we have not found Madeline, we are now confident that she is dead. So our efforts will be focused on recovering Madeline. Dozens and dozens of detectives, crime analysts, and specialized team members have been working non-stop and following up on every single lead and every shred of evidence. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time and that Stefan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stefan Sterns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26. Detectives later recovered Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop from that dumpster. At 8:19, we have evidence that shows Stefan Sterns returning to the complex and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time. As a result of that, although the initial missing persons investigation started in Orange County, the Kissimmee Police Department will now be taking over the investigation and will become the lead agency. And of course, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, all of our support personnel will be available and will still be assisting in this investigation. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Holland from the Kissimmee Police Department. Chief?
Thank you for being here. As Sheriff Mina said, this is still an active and ongoing investigation, and there is a lot of additional information that we cannot release at this time. I do want to note that Stefan Sterns was transported from the Orange County Jail to the Osceola County Jail, where he is being held on capital sexual battery charges filed by the Kissimmee Police Detectives. Right now, our top priority is recovering Madeline. We are still appealing to our community for its help in this case. Please share this Crime Line bulletin on my right of Stephan Sterns. He was last seen driving a silver 2010 Lincoln MKZ. The Florida tag is IYLL82. On Monday, February 26, between 1 and 2:30 p.m. in the area of State Road 192 and Old Hickory Tree Road, as well as Old Hickory Tree Road and Nolte Road. During this time frame, it is believed that Sterns had a flat tire and might have been seen changing the tire in this area. If anyone saw this vehicle or noticed anything suspicious, we're asking that they call Crime Line. We will continue to work tirelessly with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, and St. Cloud Police Departments to bring a resolution to this case and recover Maddie. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief. We'll take some questions, but just remember, we're still in the middle of this investigation. There's a lot of things that we cannot reveal. No, Sterns has not spoken to anyone. The video evidence that we have. So we're not going to go into those exact details, but we have video evidence that leads us to believe that she's already dead.
Sheriff, there's been a lot of things that you've laid out here just now. This location in the afternoon, is there a belief? Are we trying to figure out, and you're requesting video surveillance that area, are you trying to figure out whether she was still with this car at that time?
Yeah, so it could be helpful to us if people saw something. And obviously, we're searching many different areas, but if someone saw something in that area, we want to know about it.
Check that you've already searched.
What's that?
Where this car supposedly had a flat, is that area you've already searched?
So we actually have people searching areas right now. So they've searched a bunch of different areas, and they're going to continue to search. So I don't want to go into specifics on exactly where. I don't want to miss something. One more time, sorry. So what I'll say is what I already said is that we believe he moved her body in those early morning hours, and all that is still under investigation. Yes, we're talking to the mother. Yes. So we're talking to the mother and all this. There's, to my knowledge, she's not a suspect in this case right now.
Over 50 officers participated in the search for Madeline, but sadly, at about 4:30 p.m., Osceola County Sheriff's Office search teams located the body of Madeline Soto in a wooded area off Hickory Tree Road in St. Cloud after a week-long search. She was found to be wearing clothing very similar to what she was described to be wearing last, and was discovered in an area about 50 feet from where Stefan had been seen, apparently changing his tire. All of these shocking revelations in this case led many to reanalyze the initial media interview with the mother and boyfriend just days prior. Now, it is widely believed by many that the mother should also be considered a possible suspect in this case. Here is the key as to what is making people suspicious. In her interview with the media, Jen Soto told a reporter that the last conversation she had with her daughter Madeline happened the night before her disappearance, after her birthday party, which the mother, Jen, did not attend. But in a report released Tuesday, it showed that Soto told deputies that she last saw her daughter getting dressed for school the morning of Madeline's disappearance.
We do know investigators are looking into who knew what and when, and some of that means looking at those initial interviews of the couple and the ones later on. Sources tell me the statements about the timeline are not consistent. Jennifer Soto told us last week that the last conversation she had with her daughter was about her 13th birthday party the night before Maddie disappeared.
I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
But according to documents, Sunday night was not the last time Soto saw Maddie. New documents show that Maddie's mom told deputies on February 26th that she saw her daughter getting dressed for school at 8 o'clock that morning, and that her boyfriend then took the teen to school. But since that initial report was taken, we learned from the Orange County Sheriff that Maddie was likely dead earlier than that.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stefan Sterns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day.
Channel 9 has been going through statements from Stephan Sterns and Soto trying to piece together what happened in the last few hours of the little girl's life, starting with our interview of the couple. Her mom told us last week.
We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way.
But in that same interview, then said,
I wasn't the one who took her to school in the morning. That was my partner. But yeah.
Detectives believe Maddie was likely dead early Monday morning because a video timeline shows Maddie's belongings being dumped in a dumpster at 7:35 by Sterns. At 8:19, Sheriff Mina said video shows Maddie in Sterns' vehicle believed to be deceased. Since then, the case has moved to Kissimmee Police, and sources tell us that Soto has been interviewed multiple times by detectives at 2 agencies, and that they are looking closely at all the statements she's made. But officially, Kissimmee Police won't comment.
It also revealed in that document that the SA that Madeline was enduring went back as far as 2 years, when Madeline was just 11 years old. These new pieces of information led to even more scrutiny and questions regarding Jen Soto's statements. Is it possible for both of Jen's statements to actually be true? Could she have had a full-blown conversation with her daughter the night before, but only saw her daughter getting ready the morning she went missing? Could she have just been confused in her media interview, but in her interviews with police, everything checked out? But still, the question lingers. If police stated that they believed that Madeline was already dead those early morning hours, how could her mother have seen her getting ready? Did something happen maybe after that? Is it possible the police are wrong and Madeline left the home alive, and maybe something happened to her outside the home? No autopsy report has been released yet, thus we don't know for sure how or when she really died. And at this point, no one, not even the prime suspect, has been charged with Madeline's death, as this case sort of hangs in a mysterious limbo. Investigators continue to work hard to piece everything together to figure out what, when, and how. In another bizarre twist in the case, less than 24 hours after the discovery of Madeline's body, Sheriff Marcos Lopez reportedly shared a photo of the actual crime scene on his Instagram account. The photo, which was posted alongside images of a community event for seniors hosted by the sheriff, was quickly taken down and called an accident by the sheriff's office. Interestingly, with it being an election year, Sheriff Lopez's opponent saw this as the perfect opportunity to chime in about how shocked and appalled he was about the post, as well as a secondary post that was made by Executive Director Nerva Rodriguez with the police department, in which she posed for a selfie with Stefan in the background as he was booked into Osceola County Jail. The sheriff's office again issued an apology for any confusion and disturbance that may have been caused by the post. As for justice for Madeline, currently no charges have been filed for her death. Stefan is currently facing 2 counts of sexual battery of a minor and counts for possession of child abuse material. And in Florida, sexual battery of a minor under 12 means that Stefan could face the death penalty for that charge alone. Now, what are my opinions on this case? Well, this case is becoming very complicated and sort of multifaceted, and it's starting to have many layers and layers to it. But First of all, I know a lot of people watching may not like what I have to say, but as somebody who was once on the other side of the media or in a family of somebody accused of a crime, my perspective is that I really loathe the way the media and the public has sort of taken little snippets of information and made all sorts of assumptions with very little actual evidence to back up their claims. At the end of the day, we can all agree that this is a story about a little girl who was hurt for a very long time, who ultimately lost her life. And it makes me furious and heartbroken that she lost her life. But I personally want to know the actual truth, not some theories. I want her story to be told the way she'd want it to be told, with the truth. And the only way her voice is going to see the light of day is with a thorough and complete investigation. Because in the words of Sheriff Mina, this is an ongoing police investigation, and the mother, Jen Soto, is not considered a suspect at this time. Now, do I think it's possible the mother knew? Maybe. Is it possible the mother was in on it? Possibly. But I will offer this extremely important fact that I think matters even more than that child predators often groom adults of the victims first so that they can gain access to be alone with the child.
Sexual offenders oftentimes groom families. So they don't just groom the child, but this is often a person known and respected and appreciated by the family.
And these predators are master manipulators. And it's very important to note that certain individuals are likely to be easily manipulated by this type of predator.
The first phase of grooming is targeting the individual. So that's targeting somebody who's vulnerable, whose circumstances lend themselves to being manipulated.
Maybe somebody with low self-esteem. Maybe somebody who grew up witnessing that type of manipulation. Maybe somebody who is in desperate need of financial support or needs help keeping things at home afloat. Maybe somebody like a single mother. It's also important to note that more often than not, predators interject themselves into the family life of their future victim. They will offer to run errands or even offer to drive the child to and from school, which is something we also just saw with the Audrey Cunningham case. Now, manipulation by this type of abuser is a tricky thing to explain to people who haven't been through that level of mind control. Because the truth is, often you don't realize you are the one being manipulated until the manipulation comes to a halt, one way or another. These people can use sarcasm or put-downs to increase the level of self-doubt and fear in the victim, thus making the victim feel less adequate and far less likely to challenge the truth, and instead believe the lies that are fed to them by the manipulator. And to this point, I will say, in the interview when the mother Jen Soto was seen comforting Stefan, sure, that can be seen as bizarre and maybe they're in on something together, especially if she knew what was going on behind closed doors. However, I'll offer this. What if Jen didn't know, or she was brainwashed into believing Stefan was an innocent guy? Woe is him, he's such a victim all the time. What if Jen was always having to comfort Stefan, and that was the norm in their relationship, and that's what he used to manipulate her? I think in time we will have more answers to these questions, but for now, I thought instead of wasting my time and yours by making more assumptions and clickbait about Jen, I would like to take this time to mention some of the major red flags of a predator grooming you or your child. Number 1, they tell off-color jokes. Number 2, they take the child to fun activities alone. Number 3, they'll become a listening ear, especially to teenagers. Predators will actually use friction between biological parents and the child to drive a wedge between them. And number 4, they treat teens as adults, giving them what would be considered adult privileges.
The second phase is gaining trust, and that is establishing a connection with the individual to make them feel as though they're heard, to make them feel as though they're safe and secure. The third is filling a need. That is very calculated, especially this piece, because it involves playing a role to fill a gap in the emotional or mental support of a target. So in my case, although I come from an incredibly loving, supportive, attentive family, and at the time I had a team of medical professionals as well around me, guiding me in my recovery, a lot of their support was in the form of tough love. So the man that abused me adopted the role of sympathizer and told me everything that as a young, vulnerable 15-year-old I wanted to hear. The fourth phase is isolating, and that is breaking down the already tenuous relationships that the target has with their genuine supporters. Now that is an interesting piece because it involves turning certain people away or pushing certain people away, but also exploiting others. So one of the things that I'm keen for people to understand is that predators don't just groom the individuals, they groom everyone around them to serve their end. So they'll groom colleagues accordingly. They sort of weaponize people, use them as pawns. It's like a chess game. The fifth phase is sexualizing, and that is gradually exposing the target to sexual content so as to normalize it. I don't know if you've heard of the frog in boiling water analogy. This one certainly applies here. And I mean, it applies to grooming as a whole, but it certainly applies here. It's very insidious, and by the time the abuse is actually introduced, it's too late. The sixth phase is maintaining control, and that is the striking of a balance between causing pain, but also providing the relief from that pain, so that you're solely dependent on the abuser for your self-esteem, your self-worth. Your concept of self is completely destroyed by the abuser and therefore dictated by the abuser.
All of that said, there are other signs too. And of course, in this day and age with the internet, grooming can happen online too. So it's important as parents to keep your eyes open for that. If your child is on social media or plays interactive games like Roblox, etc., those are areas where you need to practice caution as a parent. Know who your kids are talking to. Create a space where they are used to coming to you about anything and they are not judged. Now, people always ask the question, why don't these child victims report the SA? Well, because number one, they usually know the offender very well, and they may even care about that person. Sometimes they may not even know what is happening is even considered abuse. Other times they may feel ashamed or that they're even maybe responsible in some way. They might be living in fear that they won't be believed, or they don't want to burden the entire rest of their family with all of this information. It's all very, very complicated. Now, if your child is suddenly acting depressed, or they change their behavior, like if a completely outgoing child turns into a quiet or withdrawn child, that is a red flag that something could be going on. If their grades completely change for the worst, or if they start acting out in school or begin to isolate themselves, pay attention as a parent to these clues. And if you suspect that your child or any child is a victim of this type of predator, please just report it. You can call the national hotline, and I'll leave that number down below, or find out how to report it locally in your state. Because if you suspect that something could be wrong, it is absolutely the right thing to do to help and do what you can. We don't know the full story yet, so we can't go pointing fingers in this case, but it may come out that some people did have their suspicions about Madeline being tortured, and it was just never properly reported. That could very well turn out to be the case here, and it's truly devastating to think about what could have happened if it was reported and this was discovered before her life was taken from her. One of the reasons why I even have this channel is that I truly believe that analyzing these true crime cases matters. It helps educate people about possible red flags so they can better protect themselves and the ones they love. And it can help educate people about mental health awareness or abuse awareness. But it also helps breathe some life back into the victim by telling their story. And I just want to make sure I do my due diligence before I fully tell Madeline's story. So until then, I will keep an eye out for more updates, and I'll be sure to hop on here and share what I know. And if you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe if you found anything you heard here useful today. It's totally free, and it helps the channel and information get seen by more people. So thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Be careful out there.